Look on the screen. Look on the screen. So let's check out this quick clip here. Fair use. Chicago's crime crisis. Parents push back on city's 10 p.m. teen curfew. So the parents are pushing back. I wanted to talk about that. Now, I have to say to myself, thank goodness I'm not in Chicago. I mean, I just automatically it just reeks. The time you think of it, and again, it's programming. When you see a lot of violence, and it's in a certain area, you're going to associate that place with, oh yeah, a lot of violence there. Okay, that's just how we're programmed, and it's what you see. So my thing is this right here. What kind of parent? Let's not forget, this is your DNA walking around here. Okay, male or female, because the man is not there because he doesn't care, it's still his DNA. Okay, maybe it's the seed of poverty D. Okay, so this is your DNA out in the universe. Look how your DNA is choosing to behave. It makes me wonder, given the crime rate in Chicago, you shouldn't even have to have a curfew. In my mind, that should be something that a parent should automatically do. So I have to ask myself, what kind of parent would be opposed to having your teenager in at 10 p.m.? And some of this, we're talking like 13, 14-year-olds. We shouldn't be surprised. We have reports of 11-year-olds that are committing crimes. So what parent will be pushing back? I would rather have my child in safer. There's no guarantee because, in Chicago, Chirac, a.k.a. Blackistan, is not uncommon in areas like this. You could be sitting up watching the news, sitting up reading a book, eating ice cream, and bullets just come flying. Why? Because the seed of poverty D is so derelict and dusty. They have no morals and so much violence. You can imagine by the behavior what they're learning in the home. Yeah, they're learning something, bit good or bad. So the seed of poverty D is nothing different than to come through and just start shooting, and then they're not the best. They never practice. Just start shooting, doing something really stupid. But I would rather kind of have my child in, okay, given the state of that community. So check this out. Look at the behavior. And I agree with it, because here's the thing. We keep on saying police, police. I'm going to just keep it real with you, and somebody might get mad, but what the hell do you want? First, you want to holler, we need to go ahead. Let's get this straight. First, you want to holler, defund the police. Yeah, that's a joke. And there are some bad cops, you bet. Good and bad, you bet. Defund the police. Then this here, we want a curfew. The parents don't want a curfew. Then people say, oh, we need more police. I'm going to say this. If the parents had raised these kids properly with morals, if the community would do that, you wouldn't need to be calling the police. Now, if a cop is the father of one of these, that's on him. But I'm just going to say in general, did the police get them pregnant? Who did? You want the police to raise your child when they break the law? Then they will when they lock them up. But we have to have some accountability. This, in my opinion, is highly indicative of the parenting or the lack thereof. So let's go ahead and show this clip, and I'll tell you why I think they're really opposed to the curfew, the parents. It's ridiculous.
Night, essentially, and there are gangs of people who are of teenagers roaming the streets, and sometimes they're just out partying, and sometimes they're not.
Out of robbing.
And I've witnessed it firsthand, and whether it helps or not, let's hope it does help the people of Chicago, but not likely. Mark.
I think there's probably better ways to fight crime than to force.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to fight crime. You know what a good way to fight crime is? Is to not carry the seed of poverty D and raise your child in a violent community. That is a really good way to fight crime. Yeah, it is. That's a good way to fight crime, is to not carry the seed of poverty D, okay? So hopefully you won't be in an unsafe community. Raise your kids with moral. If we could get on one page, peeps, and we can really do that, but too much damage is done. Broken window. Kids do think you bet of all nationalities, you're doing Skippy, but I'm talking about what's on the screen here. This is Chicago. You wonder why tourism is down. I said before, people think, oh, it's something over there in the community. I'm not worried about it. That's them, their community. Oh, okay, you will. Give it time. It's coming your way. It's coming to a theater near you. It's coming on the street where you live. And now it has, and now they're downtown terrorizing. You're going to see so much loss of revenue. And this isn't getting better anytime soon. One thing they're trying to do is fight each other. That's why, I told a friend of mine, and we haven't really spoken in a while. So ex-friend, and I made the comment years ago. I said, I don't get it. If you live in Chicago or any place like that, any place, I don't care if it's in the backwoods of Texas or Montana. If you live in a place like that, or like the Appalachian, oh my gosh, have you seen the Appalachian? I have literally seen it with my eyes. Okay, just doing drugs, it ain't no job. Coal mine been dried up, all that. I just think in certain circumstances, but we were talking about Chicago, in certain circumstances, if that's where you are, you should be mentally, I would be on operation, I need to get the heck out. So I said to my friend, I said, we're talking about Chicago, and I was like, well, why do they keep having babies? Because the MO, you're going to be stuck there. You can't provide for you, and neither can the men. I don't understand. And maybe I'm like that because my dad, growing up, my father, he always just taught me. We would have conversations, not even with my mom. It was my dad. So obviously, you can tell I'm a daddy's girl. And he was like, get older, you want to get married, you need to assess the situation. And he just pretty much let me know. You need to find out where you're going to live. I didn't raise you in a dump. He definitely did not. We had a very middle-class home. But yeah, very middle-class home. Matter of fact, now, wow, somebody else has bought it. Some, I guess you would call yuppie. I don't even say that anymore. But wow, that guy, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I don't know if he had an interior decorator, but oh my gosh, the house is just drop dead gorgeous. So, well, I think that's great. But my dad would talk to me and tell me things like that. You need to assess the situation. If it's not going to better your living circumstance or make it negative or bad, my dad just taught me you just don't do it. You can do bad on your own, which he didn't want that. But that's what he was basically telling me, is that, hey, growing up, you need to go ahead and assess the situation. If it is not going to improve, then improve you. It's not a positive move for you. Then my dad ever heard him say, what are you doing it for? If you're going to get married, it's not going to benefit you. What are you doing it for? That's what my dad taught me. So that's why I think that way. So when I say the seed of poverty D, and that's why it's so important to hear a different point of view. The way my father talked to me and raised me as a young woman, both my parents raised us, by the way, but the things that my father put in me, that's why I am the way I am. Okay. My dad was always about business, about investing, things you can do. So that's how I am, because what's been instilled in me by my parents. And more so because my dad was always having these one-on-one conversations with me, about life, about the world. I watch news like this here. Why? Because growing up, my dad was always into business news. Not so much into the music. You get in the car, you might hear, dun, 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 dun. Oh, this is KRLD. As a kid, you're like, so it was always on the news with my father, not jamming. Oh, and it was like with us as kids, I want to change the station, Dad. I want to jam. I want to change the station. I want to hear some music. But with my father, it was always just business news. And now I'm older and I'm like, ooh, I'm kind of like my dad. I'm really trying to be in tune with the news. So my point in this is what you are instilling in these children. Oh yeah. Like what my dad instilled in me, maybe your parents instilled a different work ethic or just different principles, different values. And so here's the thing. The reason I mentioned that, what my father instilled in me, that is partly responsible for the way that I am. Newsflash, let's apply to this story. What the parents and the community has instilled in this right here on the screen, that's why they are what they are, and we don't want to face it. We want to act like, well, they just went outside in the air and something they was breathing in just made them act like that. What's being instilled into those children? The community, the culture. And this is it. Destructive. Destroy everything in sight. You destroy black businesses. Anybody that has a business can get destroyed. Gas stations, a Caucasian person, Asian person, Indian person, it doesn't even matter. Anti-business, pro-destructive. So we don't want to talk about that. So what my dad instilled in me, that definitely, as I get older, think about it, I always listen to the news and stuff. Oh, my dad was like that. It's programming. My dad was in my ear. You give me information one-on-one. I was always a daddy's girl. And when you get older and the business and you need to have money going to a circle and be with your friends, you support each other. My dad was already saying that stuff. And that's why I think how I think. So you stop and think, when you look at this behavior here on this screen, it comes from somewhere. It comes from somewhere. I'm willing to bet you it comes from the home. This right here. Wow, look at that. How do we get to breaking the window in McDonald's? How do we get there? This right here. Hate to tell you. Look how the young ladies are dressed. I don't know if y'all trying to get a little job that's not recommended. But this right here, look how you're carrying yourself. So here's the deal. Again, whatever you're instilling into your children, the community at large as well, that's what you're going to get. So I think the parents with the pushback on the city's 10 p.m. teen curfew, I say go with it. Because you know what? These are your kids. Hell, you put them here. You need to don't control them. You need to be accountable. And I think, in my opinion, that the reason that the parents are pushing back, because you know what? They don't want to deal with their creation. You don't want to deal with it. Oh, but you want to unleash it on society and let everybody else deal with it and become a victim while you sit up sleeping and chilling, relaxing. Oh, I want some peace of mind. I don't want to deal with little Demonte. Go on outside. Go on outside. I don't want to deal with Dusty Dan. Won't you go on outside, buddy? I'm just trying to relax with my new boyfriend. I mean, seriously. This is you. This is your DNA. These are your children. Why would you push back on a teen curfew? You should want them to know it's unsafe. This tells me that parents that are doing this, you don't care. Some of these women, you just got pregnant using your womb as a wallet. And then you saw, oh, well, the government's going to take care of me. And you do it again and again and again. So I am for the curfew. You need that. Maybe then you won't have people canceling entire conferences and functions. Maybe then you can bring back into some more businesses into the downtown area. Maybe you can do that. But when you have all this mayhem, decent people are going to turn around. I don't care what nationality. Many black people are like, yeah. Seeing this right here, people scope out areas. Well, let's check it out. Let's go at nighttime. And maybe we'll consider maybe buying or setting up something here. When they're seeing all this here, they're going to keep on going. So the parents push back. Yeah, you don't want to deal with, I see it as you don't want to deal with your creation. These are your children, and you don't want them at home. But this is yours. So no, I think they should have a mandatory curfew, and you can do it for the entire summer. Leave these children with their parents. Let the parents deal with them instead of letting them roam freely, do whatever they want, and potentially victimizing other people. So yeah, it's time for parents to have some accountability. This curfew, I would put it in for the entire summer. You may save a life, trust and believe. Now somebody's still gonna get out. That's fine. But the less, the fewer. I would impose this curfew and try to put more cops in straight up and down. And for the parents that don't adhere to it, if they're caught out, you'll be facing a fine, and that fine will be $200 per each occurrence per child. How about that? Let me know what you guys think. But that's a way to do it. They're already losing money on businesses, hotels, you name it. They're losing a lot of tourist money. Plus the high gas prices. Look, the weekend is coming up with Memorial Day. Gee, in Chicago, how many will die? Can't walk down the street and have ice cream. How many will die? So the curfew, I'm for it. It's time to take these kids. Your mom or your dad raised you, or Mima, whoever it is. Well, go on over there with them. Yeah, because that's their DNA. Go on over there with the ones who raised you and let them see what it's like to deal with you. So the curfew, I hope it is on starting like today. The community is out of control. And for the parents to push back, that just tells me you don't want to deal with your creation. Guess what? You need to deal with them instead of everybody else. Anyway, I'm out. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for listening. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe, and share, and check out our sister channel about those comments. I'm out.